Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and today's video is an update of my Skeletor army. Now if you've watched my videos over the years, you'll know that I have a soft spot for Skeletor from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and I tend to buy any I find that are sort of cheap and a little bit broken, a little bit sort of played worn, and add them to my collection. And also people very kindly send them in to me. Now in front of me here you actually see this is sort of some new ones that I've added to my collection, but this is by no means my whole collection. These are ones that just happen to be sort of sitting around my filming area. So at the back here we've got a couple of laser light Skeletors. You'll have seen me restore those. One of those is actually the one that I built out of the Barbarossa custom kit. The other one is an original one with some sort of repaired parts. I did have a third one, but I've actually given that away to a good friend of mine who collects Masters of the Universe and didn't have one of those figures. So one of those has gone. Then we have a few other Skeletors that are ones that I've just sort of been piecing together out of odd bits. So we have here, we've got Wonder Bread Skeletor. So this is basically my Wonder Bread version of Skeletor, a little bit like the Wonder Bread version of He-Man. Then we also have Prince Skeletor, which is I just happen to have a Prince Adam body without a head, but I have plenty of Skeletor heads, so I thought, well, why not make a sort of Prince version of Skeletor? So that's my Prince Skeletor. And then just some other odd bits, you know, figures that are sort of halfway through being restored or sort of getting there. In fact, this guy at the back I would class as a bit of a Walking Dead version of Skeletor. As you can see, he doesn't have any arms and he's missing part of a foot, but he's the basis of something I hope to sort of fix up in future. But as I say, this is by no means my entire collection, so let me bring on my entire collection for you. Right. So that is my entire collection of Skeletors. When I don't have the space to display them, they are getting stored away in this very old suitcase. In fact, this is my granddad's suitcase and it's been in the family a very long time. And I didn't want to sort of throw it away, but I thought a good use for it would be to store my Skeletor collection. So let's open this up and you will see how jam-packed this currently is. At some point I need to sort out my room so that I can actually display all of these, because I don't like keeping them stored in here. It seems a shame and I really want to get them on display, but currently this is where they live. I'll open it up and you can take a look. There we go. It is jam-packed with them. I think I've got most of sort of every sort of Skeletor in there. They're all sort of higgledy-piggledy. So I think the best thing to do is get them all out of the box and then you can see exactly what my collection is looking like. And here we go, this is it. This is pretty much what I managed to cram in that very tiny suitcase. A few of the ones that you saw right at the start weren't actually squeezed in there, but every single other Skeletor I'd managed to somehow squeeze into that suitcase. And you can see there is rather a lot of them. I'll give you some stats in a second because I've actually just sat and counted out what I've got of each. None of them are in particularly great condition. They're all beaters, they've all got bits missing and a bit broken. And I do have a few weapons for them. You can see here I've got a little pile of weapons. Again, all of these are sort of much chewed and played with, but they do the job. And I do have some real stinkers in this collection, but they're ones I don't want to improve. I actually have some spare heads for Skeletor, as you can see here. I was given this one a while back and I just decided to leave it as is because it reminded me of the Iron Maiden Can I Play With Madness single cover. I just thought it was quite cool. So even though he's got this sort of battered head and I could easily replace it, I've left it as it is because I think it's quite a unique version of Skeletor there. So as far as stats go, I've written them all down in my notepad and I can tell you I have 16.5 original Skeletors. And I say a half because we obviously got that one that doesn't have any arms and is missing a foot. I've got 11 versions of the Battle Armor Skeletor, all with various bits sort of wrong with them, like that guy's head there. And I think some of them still need the battle armor working, so that is a job I might have to sort of come back to in future and try and get those all working. Then I have 3 Dragon Blaster versions of Skeletor that you can see at the back. Only 2 actually have the full dragons, one of them is missing the dragon head. I have 2 versions of Terror Claw Skeletor. None of them have the claws, but they are the sort of the Terror Claws version. I have 2 versions of Laser Light Skeletor, which you can see here. And then I have 4 versions of the New Adventures version of Skeletor, which is this chap here. And so that is my entire collection. It works out actually at 37 and a half Skeletors, because I've got a couple of little odd ones that aren't sort of fitting in with either of those, especially my little Prince Adam or sort of Prince Skeletor there. So 37 and a half Skeletors is how my collection is looking at the moment, and I plan to keep on adding to it. Skeletor is one of those figures that I do find relatively often. You go to toy fairs and flea markets and you'll just find an odd Skeletor. Often they're missing the armour and the belt and all of those sorts of bits, but if I can get them for under £3, I will buy it. If it's more than £3, I'll leave it for someone else, because this is literally a sort of an army building exercise on my part. So if I see them cheap, I will pick them up. A couple that I didn't mention in that list of sort of 37 and a half are some very tiny ones that you can just about see here at the bottom. These are actually pencil toppers. The idea is that you stick these on the end of a pencil. I can't say they particularly chose to put the hole in a very opportune place, because if we turn it around you can see that is where you have to stick the pencil in Skeletor. But I like these because they're nice little sort of mini versions of him. Very badly painted, but I sort of think they suit the rest of the collection quite nicely. Now, I'm sure some people will say that I'm being greedy here because I've got so many Skeletors and I should leave them for someone else. But if you think back to when Skeletor was produced for the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe toy line, they were producing hundreds and thousands of them. And there are still hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of these figures out there. Currently, prices on them are sky high, which is why I don't actually find them that often. But when I first started collecting Skeletor, which was sort of 5 to 10 years ago, you could really easily pick them up all the time. Prices on these things go up and down, so if you give it a few years, prices will drop and they will be back on the market for cheap prices. But as it stands, I still do manage to find the odd Skeletor now and again, just not as often as I did when I first started picking up this collection. So if you're worried that there aren't enough Skeletors out there for you to collect, I promise you there are. There are hundreds, thousands, if not millions of these figures out there, and there's enough for at least everybody to have one. And if you want more, grab more, because it's really worth getting them. I really do like this collection, and I need to get them so that they can be seen and appreciated more, because hiding away in that box is a little bit of a shame. I don't like hiding away toys like that, so I'm certainly going to have to rearrange my room shortly. Getting all the Skeletors out like this also does give me an opportunity to do a bit of work on them. I've noticed that quite a few of these I obviously haven't sort of repaired at all when I've picked them up. They've just gone sort of straight into the box there. So the rubber bands, the He bands that hold the legs on a few are very loose, and some of them barely stand up. So I think while I've got them all out and they're all here on my desk, I'm going to go through them, clean them up, do some odd repairs, replace the He bands on a load of them, and then put them back in storage just for the moment until I get everything sorted. But it's certainly a great opportunity for me to do this now. These are all out and I can see exactly what I've got. I've done plenty of videos on Skeletor over the years, so if you haven't checked those out, I'll put a link at the end of this video so you can see exactly what I've done. I've restored his face, I've done custom versions with light up eyes, I've fixed the battle armor versions. I've also done fixes for a good selection of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe vehicles, and quite a few figures now, so it's certainly worth checking out my back catalogue of videos on those. I hope to do more sort of tours of my collection over the coming year, because I know a lot of people keep asking me to show more of the collection that I have here. My room that I work in and film in isn't particularly large, so I don't have everything on display all at one time. I have to rotate my collection, and currently some things are away in storage and other things are on display. But certainly I hope to show a little bit more of my collection over the coming year. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.